Good afternoon. Welcome to the Historic Preservation Commission meeting this Thursday, April 9th, 2026. Hearings before the Historic Preservation Commission are quasi-judicial in nature. This is a design review process to determine if the proposed project is congruous with the special character of the historic district or landmark. Decisions of the commission are based on the record of these proceedings, the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, and the Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation. Evidence submitted to the commission for review becomes part of the record. Appeals of commission decisions are made to the Wilmington Board of Adjustment and then to the Superior Court and are based on the record. Appeals must be filed within 30 days of the date of the commission's action. Evidence is received during the evidentiary hearing portion of an agenda item, and those who want to address the commission are sworn as witnesses to present material and substantial evidence to the commission. The chair recognizes those who want to submit such evidence during the evidentiary hearing. Evidence should be directed to the commission. To ensure that evidence is properly recorded, please come to the podium, address the commission, state your name and address, and speak clearly. Members of the Historic Preservation Commission are appointed by the City Council and serve at its discretion. Our responsibility is to protect and preserve properties within the city's designated historic districts. We adhere to the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, as well as applicable North Carolina state law, to assess whether exterior changes align with the unique character of the city's historic districts. It is important that we deliberate the merits of each request in a manner that provides a record of the basis for our decisions. Please remember that our deliberations should center on how a project meets the design standards and whether the proposed change is congruous or not. Commissioners, if you have received or been made aware of any outside evidence related to any of the matters, please recuse yourself. And if you would, please turn off or set your cell phones to silent mode. Thank you. I want to introduce staff. Gina Essie is not here this evening, but Assistant City Attorney Whitley Stavish, pronounce right? Not Brian Chambers is not here, but Linda Painter is in attendance, Planning Director, Ben Riggle, Historic Preservation Planning Manager, Alden Filnholm, Historic Preservation Planner, and Amy Bradshaw over this way, our Planning Coordinator. And if I could ask the commissioners to introduce myself, beginning audience right.
Beth Rutledge. Allison Watts.
Joan Keston.
I'm Christopher Yermel.
Ashley Wilson.
Stephen Salke.
And Amy, if you'll swear in any witnesses who wish to speak this evening.
All right,
Over
if I
that
can
direction.
have all staff, applicants, and members of the public, anyone who wishes to speak tonight must be sworn in, so please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
The first order of business is approval of minutes. Would someone like to make a motion, or are there any changes that need to be made before a motion? No changes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passed unanimously. Moving on to evidentiary hearings. The 230 McRae Street project is postponed, or rather it's continued until second Thursday in May. So that's the May 14th. And I also want to note that if anyone is in attendance tonight for the project at 109 South 7th Street, that has been withdrawn. So in case anyone's here for that item, it's withdrawn, and you are free to stay or go.
Mr. Chairman Yermel, I believe that you need a motion to continue the first item.
Oh, we do, okay. Is there a motion to continue this thing until May 14th?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. And then picking up on old business from last month, now it's this month, 226 South Front Street. Ben, if you'd help us with this presentation, please.
Absolutely. Case 2 is a request for a major rehabilitation project, including a rear addition at 226 South Front Street, and it was continued from the March 12th, 2026 Historic Preservation Commission meeting. As described in the Historic District Boundary Expansion and Additional Documentation Report dated 2003, the house at 226 South Front Street is a 4-square house with a hipped roof, hipped dormer, and hipped porch supported by panel columns. At the time it was documented, the house was being used as a home cook restaurant. The building occupies a parcel sloping down westward towards the Cape Fear River so that the foundation level is almost a full story in height at the west side of the building. The subject building is a contributing resource to the Central Business District Historic District overlay. Only that which can be seen from public right-of-way, excluding alleys, is subject to design review. The subject property is located on the northwest corner of the intersection of South Front Street and Ann Street. Although used as a restaurant for several years, the house retains a good level of integrity when compared to these historic photos from circa 1966 and circa 1976. As detailed in last month's meeting, the proposed project will include reconstructing the existing severely deteriorated front porch, including actively failing columns, rotting wood framing and decking, and a substantial slope down away from the building as seen in these two slides. The reconstructed front porch will include a new second-story balcony with wood handrails and pressure-treated decking. The front porch posts, bands, columns, and balusters will match and be painted white. To access the second-story balcony area, the existing 1/1 windows in the second story of the front east facade will be replaced by wood-framed single-light doors. The existing front door will be restored and refinished to its original condition. The existing windows will be repaired and restored with the frames painted black. If restoration of any of the windows is not possible, replacement will be made in kind with matching wood gen weld windows painted black. The wood siding, windows, including casement moldings, balusters, fascia, soffits, and crown molding, will be repaired where possible and replaced when necessary in kind, and then painted white. In preparation of the proposed new rear addition, the existing rear addition will be partially demolished, including rooftop balconies visible in the circa 1976 photograph, deteriorated windows, and pair of French doors at the rear of the house, and a hipped dormer on the rear slope of the main portion of the hipped roof. The existing brick foundation visible from Ann Street is of unpainted red brick with notable sections of newer brick infill and 2 garage doors on the west side of the south elevation. The foundation will be repaired and restored as needed, and then unpainted brick will be painted white for strength and to be consistent with the proposed new color scheme of the building. The brick will be coated in a base layer of N609 100% acrylic masonry sealer with premium top coat of either Element Guard or Regal High Build, which according to the Benjamin Moore Company will allow the brick to remain breathable while preventing moisture entrapment. The existing garage door openings on the south side of the building, fronting on Ann Street, will feature carriage doors that will not overswing public right-of-way. A curb cut and driveway apron will be required to access the existing garage door openings, so the applicant will provide finalized plans through the administrative bypass for staff to review and confirm that it meets city code and design standards. The applicant proposes to construct a new rear addition with a rear porch on the rear rest elevation of the building. The proposed new addition will match the height of the main portion of the building, and existing hipped roof line will be extended to the west to cover the new addition. Hipped dormers, similar to the existing hipped dormers, will be included on the sides, south and north, and the rear, west slope of the new addition. The roof of the addition will be sheathed in standing seam metal roofing, matching the existing main portion of the building. The applicant will use a gray color for the metal roofing instead of black as initially proposed. The proposed rear addition and rear porch design will utilize matching wood features such as siding, balusters, fascia, and soffits to maintain consistency with the existing building. The foundation level of the proposed addition will be clad with brick matching the existing foundation level. The new windows for the proposed addition will be gen weld wood units painted black to match with what is proposed for the main portion of the house. The applicant has provided 3 revised options for the proposed rear porch as requested at the March 12th meeting. The first proposed design features a 2-story covered porch with a large rear hipped wall dormer featuring 4 4/1 windows centered over the porch on the rear west slope of the expanded hipped roof. The second proposed design is similar to the first, with the proposed dormer being larger with 4 large single-pane windows instead of 4/1 units. The third proposed design features a similar 2-story covered rear porch with a smaller Juliet-type balcony on the 3rd story, accessed through double doors with hip dormers matching the Juliet balcony in width. Whichever design is chosen, the proposed porch will have wood bands, columns, and balusters matching the front porch. Similar bi-hinged, full-view fiberglass doors painted black will provide access to each level of the proposed rear porch, including the foundation level. The third option for the proposed rear porch, which includes the Juliet balcony, will include a pair of these type of doors. The proposed project also includes interior renovations as seen in these floor plans. Staff notes that a previous owner applied for a similar project for exterior alterations and rear addition in 2024 under COA number MJW-16-2510, as seen on this slide, but that project was never completed. That proposed project also included the construction of a 3-story building on the adjacent parcel, but that portion of the early project is also not included in this project. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. All standing seam metal roofing shall be flat channeled with no striations. All window glazing shall be clear with no tint. All materials deteriorated past the point of repair shall be replaced in kind with matching material. No mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of the proposed project. All materials removed as a result of the proposed project shall be disposed of properly. The proposed garage doors shall not swing over the sidewalk right-of-way. Once finalized, the proposed site plan for the required curb cut and driveway apron shall be provided to staff through the administrative bypass process to confirm it meets city code and design standards. All construction shall comply with code and any changes shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Ben? No? Ben, if I'm not mistaken, the two most significant changes are to the roof color and these rear dormers porches, right?
Correct.
Those, okay.
He also provided the material to cover the brick foundation as well.
Okay, gotcha. Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Is the applicant in attendance would like to come forward to answer any questions or provide other information? You'd state your, good evening. If you'd like, state your name and address, please.
Brooks Addis, 417 Robert E. Lee Drive, and I'm the builder proposed.
Anything to add to the presentation?
Just that the owners are open to anyone's suggestions on the 3 options.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
I have a question about the interior design. We didn't talk about this before. I know you said it's a boutique hotel.
Yes.
I did not see anywhere for an office or a front desk or even a restroom. Is it a self-serve hotel?
Well, that is going to be like a phase 2 on the lot beside it where that 6-unit hotel was going to go.
Okay.
They are in the future going to build a commercial building with a office below and then residences above if it's approved.
Do you know, is it self-service now? I mean,
As
for
it-
phase 1,
As it would stand for phase 1, yes.
it would be
The-
a self-service hotel.
Basically, yes.
Okay. My other question is, do your clients have a preference of the 3 new designs for the back?
Do you have those? I can't remember the one on the left with the, was it 4/1?
Mm-hmm.
That was their preference.
That's their preference. Okay, thank you.
Okay. And there is a suite on the 3rd floor that the owners possibly would use.
Oh, okay, great.
Any other questions? Joan? No? Okay. Anyone? No? Okay. I think we're all set. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Would anyone like to come forward to speak in favor or against or something in the middle? Comments? If you'd come forward, please, and state your name and address.
Hello, I am Molly Simon at 308 South Front Street. Last meeting, there was a talk about the change in the square footage. Yeah, I didn't hear that with this current, today, the current plan. The current square footage and then the additional square footage.
So your question is, what is the current versus the additional square footage?
Yes.
Like, what's the conditioned space within this structure?
How big is it going to be? Like,
Okay. Is there another, Ben, I'm sorry, could you pull up one of the photographs that, or one of the renderings, rather, that show this thing from outside? That shows, maybe we can get a sense of what the existing versus new is? Is that, you probably don't have a slide like that, do you? Just to see what's being, compare what's being added? which I assume you're asking this question because you're just curious about, like, just trying to understand how big is this new
Yes.
structure going to be?
Yeah.
So to be able to toggle back and forth between an existing side elevation and the new might help. I don't know, we don't know what the square footage is, but
And that was brought up at the last meeting, so I didn't know if you guys had an answer for that.
we could,
No,
we'll ask the applicant to come forward and see if he could tell us in a minute what
For our area
what the difference is
calculations.
between the existing and new. I'm sorry.
There's a box with area calculations. So the existing is 4,430. The total proposed is 6,304 of heated.
So almost 1,600 square feet additional.
Okay. Okay, I think that was it. My only other question was on the adjacent property, is that still being proposed to build? Or
No,
is that
no,
just
that's the only thing on this application has to do with the structure itself,
Okay.
not the adjacent parcel.
Would that be brought up at a?
Sounds like it's
future
going to be a phase 2 or a future phase at least.
meeting? So it is still being considered?
Yeah, anything that would have to be done on that adjacent lot would have to come back through this review, and you would be alerted as a neighbor.
Okay.
Are you an adjacent property owner at that address you mentioned?
There's this house.
Yeah.
And then there's a pink house next to me, and then I'm that white brick.
So did you receive the mailing about this at your address, or you just found out some other public record?
I saw the, last
Ma'am,
time I
could
was
you
here-
please talk into the
Oh,
microphone?
I'm sorry. The last time I was here, I saw a sign in front of the house. I didn't receive
So
anything. And-
okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, so in the future, if there is something that happens there, you'd be notified that way.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor or in any opposition regarding this project? Anyone? Okay. We will close the evidentiary portion and move to commissioner deliberation. I think overall, obviously, we're thinking about the project in general, but then we have these changes, and they kind of adopted the idea we had about making this a galvanized roof or galvalume, not a colored, not painted black. And obviously I think, Allie, you brought up something last time, maybe about the front porch. Nothing was addressed with that, but we have the 3 options, obviously, on the rear elevation. Any thoughts on that?
I think the first and the third are the most congruous with what you see downtown, and it fits in better. The second is massive. It almost overpowers. I mean, I think it changed, again, it goes back to that modern beach look more than the other 2.
The scale of the third one, the smaller, all the other dormers just have 2 windows. So I kind of feel like the scale is maybe more appropriate, but I think the first one.
Yeah, I feel the same
I
way.
completely
The
agree.
third.
Yeah, the third, I think, is truer to scale.
Yeah.
But the
We were
first
trying to
one's
get things
fine.
stepped in a little bit, it felt like, last month, and that number 3 does achieve that
Yeah.
the best. Stephen?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So would anyone like to make a motion then? I think there's general agreement on number 3, albeit, Joan, maybe not that one. Okay.
I'm fine with 3.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion, please?
I move to approve with conditions, no, I'm on the wrong one. I move to approve with conditions the request for a major renovation project, including a rear addition and second-story balcony in the front facade. The rear addition will be the proposal number 3. For the property located at 226 South Front Street, this request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passed unanimously. Applicant, where is it? Thank you. Thank you. Agenda item 3 on paper, 2 in reality, 503 Gray Street.
Case 3 is for the after-fact approval of a carport constructed at 503 Gray Street. As described by staff based on direct observation, the 2-story hipped roof dwelling at 503 Gray Street was constructed circa 2006. The house features a hip dormer on the front slope of the roof, while a one-story full facade front porch is supported by square columns. The house is a non-contributing resource to the Historic District Residential, and revisions to all facades of the building and the site are subject to design review in this district. The subject property is located on the north side of Gray Street, one parcel east of its intersection with North Fifth Avenue. The applicant proposes the after-fact approval of a carport constructed over the driveway on the west side of the house at 503 Gray Street. The assembled carport is a 10-foot by 15-foot heavy-duty galvanized steel structure weighing approximately 135 pounds. As seen in these photos, there is no solid side, back, or front wall panels. The carport stands approximately 8 feet in height at its center and 6 feet 3 inches in height on each side. The carport is not affixed to the ground on a permanent foundation. The carport is located near the terminus of the approximately 45-foot-long concrete one-way driveway in front of the rear yard fence at the west side of the house. The rear fence blocks access to the backyard from the driveway. The carport is sited approximately 15 feet north of the sidewalk and approximately 10 feet from the side of the house's front porch. The frame of the carport is comprised of 8 black 1.57-inch galvanized steel rectangular tubes with 4 per side, with a galvanized steel panel roof with the top painted dark gray and underside painted light gray similar to the house. The carport features all-weather protection, including a wind rating of up to 100 miles per hour. The applicant notes that the carport is located near the terminus of the driveway, fits with the scale of the surrounding buildings, serves only one vehicle, and is utilitarian in appearance without creating a false sense of history in accordance with Section 2.5 of the design standards. Staff notes that the metal carport is installed near the end of the driveway, which only extends into the side yard of the property. The carport is fully visible from Gray Street, but with open sides, front, and rear elevations, its visual impact is lessened. Staff inquired about the possibility of removing the carport if and when a severe tropical storm or hurricane is forecast for the area, and while not an easy project, the carport can be disassembled and reassembled if absolutely necessary. Finally, a building permit may be required by the New Hanover County and can be obtained by applying through the county's coast permitting portal. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. The carport shall not be altered in size or style without further review. All construction shall comply with code, and any changes will be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry, what did you mention about the permitting through New Hanover County? That would need to occur or may need to occur?
The best information I can find is only carports over 400 square feet require a permit, but I don't know that for sure because I'm not the county.
Okay, gotcha. Any questions for Ben on this item? No? Okay, thank you. Is the applicant in attendance tonight? I am. Please come forward if you'd state your name and address. that address?
Jordan Berkeley at 503 Gray Street. I'm actually here as the agent of the owner. I don't own the property.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, Ben hit on most of the things that I feel do align with the historic preservation design guidelines. It's at the end of the driveway. It's certainly subordinate to the scale of the house. It is only one car. It's not which we allow it to 3 in the designs. Utilitarian appearance, so it's creates no false sense of history and such. And as noted here, I know it's not necessarily in the design guidelines, but it does match the color of the house as well. The other thing I do want to add, and I'd like to submit, as I walked around to every household on the street of Grace between 5th and 6th, along with the houses on 5th who may have line of sight, every single one of my neighbors approved of it. And 2 of them said they didn't even notice it. So I don't know if you.
Whitley, I'm sorry, what do we do with that document right there? Is that admissible, or do we take that into consideration?
That the people who would actually see it don't mind it.
Signature is kind of a
Like a petition.
petition. That's the word I'm looking for.
It's a petition.
Sorry, it can be submitted and reviewed. We'll need to make a copy and you can present that as evidence.
Okay. I have copies too.
Okay, thank you. I think you'll need to give it to Amy.
Anything else?
Only if anyone has questions.
Ashley, Stephen? No questions? Okay.
All right,
All right, thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and speak in favor? Or against? Well, please, sir, if you'd come forward, please state your name and address.
My name is Anthony Demings at 812 McRae Alley. When I saw that carport, it looks like something from the 60s. I would have had proposed to have a four-sided roof that would match the roof on the house and on the garage. It would harmoniously match the neighborhood. That looks like something that would be put on a ranch house area.
How close do you live to this?
Probably about 2, 3, 4 blocks, 3 to 4 blocks away.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd just like to see if it's approved, there's going to be other houses that have that type of, you should match the roof with, and some little stronger structure with the matching of the house, which has four-sided hip roof. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak in favor or against this particular item? Seeing none, we'll move to Commissioner deliberation. Thoughts?
No.
No thoughts or no on this item?
No, just no.
No. Okay. Can you just elaborate? What are your,
It looks dangerous. Sets a bad precedent.
Okay.
I just, no.
Okay.
I agree with Ashley. It doesn't look like it belongs downtown historic.
There is a precedence issue. If you take this to its logical conclusion, and everyone can put one of these over in the side of the house, it's unusual and probably not doing our duty as commissioners. And
I have a concern that's just more about our greater historic districts. You know, our storms are getting worse and worse. Our named storms are becoming more prevalent. If we have one or more of these picked up by the wind and flying around, we can't help but do damage to our historic district. I think when I look at this, I imagine it being lifted up by the wind and thrown.
yeah, if it just has a 100-mile-an-hour rating, that's not.
That's why I say no, just no.
Ally, Stephen?
I'm not in favor of it.
Okay.
This way it looks, no.
I think this home has an opportunity to do something interesting. You know, there's a lot of leeway between this not presenting a false sense of history and something that gets a lot closer to the existing building. So I think the property has an opportunity for something here to protect a vehicle over there that could be redesigned and built there, but this may not do it. Would someone like to make a motion then?
Chris, I think
I'm sorry?
we approved a carport, I believe, on 5th Street between Grace and Chestnut, and it's up now, and it's nice, substantial. I mean, it looks like it belongs in the neighborhood.
Oh, it's like custom site built, not something you drop in
site-built,
place.
right. Not this kind of a structure.
Yeah. Okay.
Would it be safe to say that if something else were presented that were, you know, more like what was approved on 5th, that would be more readily considered?
Oh, sure. I think an applicant to work with staff to get this a bit closer to workable is an option, and probably could make some improvements. And just, there are other options, yeah. So I don't know what, maybe staff could help with what that was, because I don't know exactly what that address was. But yeah, there's probably an opportunity to look at a different design here in the future. Joan, were you gonna?
I was going to do a motion.
Okay.
I move to deny the request for an after-the-fact carport for the property located at 503 Gray Street. This request is inconsistent with the Wilmington design standards for historic districts and landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the denial?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes as a denial for that after-the-fact carport. If we can work with staff on some other opportunity, to some other design for getting this thing done, but we've made our, oh, understood, but if you were to work on behalf of the owner, you know, with staff, you know, yeah, I think obviously the applicant, the owner wants to protect their car, so there are other ways to do it.
I put it up there for my car, for my old car.
Oh,
So it's a temporary structure.
oh, I see.
I'll be there for another year.
Sir,
Okay.
I'm sorry, we can't have discussion. You're going to have to be on the mic if you're going to talk, but the discussion can't be from the audience.
We could go ahead and take that last word real quick, if you would.
I guess the question I have is, how much time do I have to remove it? Because I'm going out of the country on the 13th.
Okay.
I'll be back on May 1st. Hopefully I have a little grace, no pun intended, to get the thing taken down.
Sir-
What's the grace period for Grace Street?
This is something you'll need to discuss with staff outside of the meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
okay, take care.
All right, Ben, appreciate you. Thank you all.
Likewise. Agenda item 4, 16 North 16th Street.
Hearing 4 is for the proposed addition of an awning over the main entrance of St. Paul's Episcopal Church at 16 North 16th Street. As described in the Carolina Heights Historic District National Register report dated 1999, St. Paul's Episcopal Church, recorded as 1601 Market Street, features two portions. The church portion, constructed in 1958, is located at the front along Market Street, while the parish hall portion, constructed between 1927 and 1928, is constructed to the rear of the church. The church and hall were part of a master plan created in 1925. The church was designed by architect James B. Lynch and O.G. Ford and constructed by contractor Hayes Construction Company. It features a Gothic Revival architectural style with a rough stucco cladding. The main entrance of heavy wood doors is set into a compound pointed arch portal. A tripartite of stained glass lancet windows adorn the front facade above the arch portal, while a round stained glass window highlights the front gable end. Iron lampposts and wrought iron railing ornament the concrete front steps. The report also notes that the baptismal font and stained glass windows over the altar are from a building constructed in 1888 on South Front Street. The subject building is a non-contributing resource to the Carolina Heights Winoka Terrace Historic District overlay because it was less than 50 years of age when the district was documented. Only that which can be seen from public right-of-way, excluding alleys, is subject to design review. All elevations of the church can be seen from public right-of-way. The subject property is located along North 16th Street, extending the block face between Market Street and Princess Street. Photographs from 1977 and circa 1980 seen on this slide show the front south facade of the church retains a high level of integrity. The applicant proposes to install an aluminum awning over the front entrance of St. Paul's Episcopal Church on Market Street. The proposed awning will span approximately 120 inches across and will extend 42 inches above the main entrance of the front south facade, approximately where the green box is on the photograph. The proposed awning will be approximately 48 inches in height and will feature a trefoil ornamental design as decorative corner bracing. The awning will have a powder-coated aluminum canopy, 8-inch aluminum gutters, 12-inch metal soffit panels, steel 2-inch by 2-inch gussets, and a copper roof pan. The awning will be mounted to the wall with bolted brackets. Staff notes that the front portion of the church is included as a non-contributing resource to the Carolina Heights Historic District because it was less than 50 years of age when the historic district was documented, but is now over 50 years of age and has a prominent location along Market Street. The awning will be installed in such a manner that it will obscure a portion of the inscription St. Paul's Episcopal Church and the cross and the arch panel over the main door, but will also protect the main entry and heavy wood doors from precipitation. Design standards note that metal awnings are normally not appropriate for buildings constructed after World War II, Design standards note that metal awnings are normally only appropriate for buildings constructed after World War II, and the portion of the church to feature the awning was constructed in 1958. Staff could find no evidence of an awning ever being located over this entrance. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. The pointed metal arch portal, including the inscribed arch panel, shall not be altered as a result of the project. No decorative ironwork shall be removed from the front of the building as a result of this project. The mounting brackets shall be installed in the least intrusive manner possible in a manner to allow them to be removed at some future time. All construction shall comply with code, and any changes shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Questions for Ben? No. Ben, as we look at this, could you have the photo of the front elevation up for us so we can? Yeah. Do you know of a color that they have?
It was. I'll let the applicant speak
Okay.
to that. I thought that was in there, but I'll double. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Applicant in attendance would like to speak to this item, please. Answer any questions, perhaps, or provide additional information.
Thank you. My name is Mate Dubois.
And your address, please.
7874 Champlain Drive,
Okay.
Wilmington.
Good evening. Anything to add to this, or can you first of all tell us what the color is proposed to be?
Yeah, well, on the facade of the canopy, it's going to be copper. We wanted to kind of blend that in with the age of the church.
You mean the metal work, the bars, or the top of it, the roof,
No,
if you
just
will?
the facade of the canopy,
Okay.
the front of the canopy.
Okay. All right. Anything else to add? Is
No,
water coming in? Is that the issue? Is water coming in these? It looks like that door on the right is struggling.
Yeah. Well, we get a lot of sun because this is a south-facing
South.
door. So we get a lot of sun that's hard on the door in addition to, there's really not a good drainage system, and all the water that comes off of that wall, it splashes up on that door and causes it to rot in the bottom. So we've put that red tape on there just to try to make it look a little better.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, we're in the process of installing new doors there. It's $25,000 worth of doors. We're going to put mahogany instead of oak.
Gotcha. And with the attachment, where on this photograph, where does it attach? Is it attached onto that stone work, or is it into the stucco?
Into the stucco.
Into the stucco. Does it attach onto those pilasters, or is it, so in the photograph on the left where we have that green box, are you saying that it attaches like in that little area between the gray stone and the pilaster and that little stucco part? It fits in there.
Yeah, the stucco's covers brick.
Yeah.
So there's like about 2 feet of brick there that's supporting that wall.
And my other question, so I'm still stuck on the color. Are you saying that everything about this is a copper color?
The only thing that you'll be able to see visually will be copper.
Okay. All right.
The awning itself as well?
Yeah, the awning, the canopy is going to have a copper facade. Now the ironwork, well, it will be black.
Okay. I see. So it's that on this, excuse me, that rectangle, that's going to be the copper, but the metal work below, those frames on each side, those are black.
Exactly.
How did you decide to put the awning where you would like it? It seems like it could easily go right at the base of the windows, and then it would not, it wouldn't mess with the beautiful architectural detail of your stone arch. Is there a reason?
Well, what we've tried to do is we didn't want to block.
Sir, if you could speak into the
sorry.
microphones better.
We didn't want to block the inscription of St. Paul's Episcopal Church So everything is going to allow people from the street and the sidewalk to be able to see the name of the church and all that. So I don't know if you can change.
See, the green box looks like
Yeah,
it's
the green box
obscuring the
blocks it.
inscription.
Yeah, what it says is 48 inches is really only 8 inches. So it's gonna.
The height of it.
Right, so it's
okay.
it's gonna be in that flat portion of the
So
granite.
above the door and below Episcopal Church is
Right.
where it's going to.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's why we wanted a flat canopy and not anything that would be arched at all, so that we could still see the inscription.
And as far as the colors relating and materials relating to the other parts, you have black
Right.
handrail.
Right.
You have that same pattern on the handrail, the balusters of the proposed design, and you have the copper, because you have other elements of copper on the building, right?
Right.
I got a question about the copper. Is this copper, or is this some material that looks like copper? Because copper ages a certain way.
Right, that's why we wanted to use
Real
true copper.
Copper,
Because of the handles, the door latches and everything, they're all copper. So
Okay.
it will
Okay.
blend. I mean, it's probably going to look a little different at first, but it's going to
It'll
get the
weather.
patina.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Will you be able to save the handles and things on the
Oh, yeah.
doors? Okay.
Yeah, they're going to be, as soon as we
Okay.
take these doors down and put the other ones up, which will just take one day, they'll be reused.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone like to speak in favor of the item? Sir, if you'd come forward, state your name and address, please.
Caleb Lee, 2110 Randolph Road, rector of St. Paul's. Just to note that if the copper is a distraction, we also have a quote about not having copper. When we negotiated a price with Stein and Stevens to replace the door, which you've approved, or went through another process, a rebuild, what they said is, yeah, we'll build it, but you got to promise to protect it. And so we've already contracted with them to do the 16th Street doors, the side with the Bellamy Memorial Garden, and that if we haven't done that yet with you all, it'll be coming as a rebuild. The plan would be, if this was approved, if you would, when we do that side, is to perhaps build an awning there to model what's happening in the front, and as we replace doors,
So
to do that.
That was a bypass he's describing, I guess, for the door replacement. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Originally, the design of this was a cathedral. The doors were supposed to be alcoved, so you'd go in, that's why the arch is there. But of course, it took 30 years to build with the Great Depression and World War II. And so we had to cut corners. And that's what we get, is a exposed door to the elements.
Understood. That's hard, especially facing south.
All right, any questions for me?
Thank you very much.
I have a kind of a side question about the doors themselves that are being replaced. Are they being replaced with wooden doors or composite?
Wooden,
He said
mahogany.
mahogany.
Mahogany? Wow.
Yeah, $25,000.
In our archives, every 15 to 20 years, we note that vestry is talking about having to replace these doors. So this is not a new thing in the history of St. Paul's, but we would like to make it maybe every 50 years. You know,
They'll be painted red, the new ones?
of course.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else in attendance like to speak in favor or against? Seeing none, we'll move to commissioner deliberation. Any thoughts, or anyone want to make a motion?
I'm just relieved that it didn't block the name. The way the
Same.
picture was, I
Same.
thought it was going to block the name, and I was like, wait a second.
Same. I feel confident making a motion to approve. I move to approve with conditions the request to add a front awning over the church entrance for the property located at 16 North 16th Street. This request is consistent with Wilmington design standards for historic districts and landmarks, based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations. Good luck with that. Stores are going to be great, I know, for a fact. Next item, number 5, 107 South Fifth Avenue.
Excuse me. All right, case 5 is for the proposed alterations of 2 windows in the infill of the foundation at 107 South Fifth Avenue. As described in the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion Report dated 2003, the Beery House, constructed circa 1905, is a side passage house with a pediment over the porch entrance. Small paired windows on the second floor above the entrance, while there's small paired windows over the second floor above the entrance, while the remainder of the windows are 1/1 sash units. The subject house is a contributing resource to the Historic District residential, and all revisions to all facades of the building and the site are subject to design review in this district. The subject property is located on the east side of South Fifth Avenue, the third house south of its intersection with Dock Street. The house retains a good level of integrity, as can be seen in the circa 1966 and undated photograph from the city's archives. The applicant proposes to remove the existing bathroom windows towards the rear of the house, indicated with the red arrow in the first photograph, on the side south elevation, infill the opening, and then cover the former opening with wood siding matching the existing house. The removed bathroom window will be reused to replace the existing kitchen window at the very rear of the house on the side elevation, and this, which will require the partial infilling of the opening. Matching wood siding will be used to clad the infill portion. So, as seen in the photo on the right, the small window will be enclosed, that window unit will be put into the large windows unit, and that unit will be infilled to match that size of that window unit. The applicant also proposes to add brick curtain walls between the existing brick piers to infill the foundation underpinning. The proposed brick will match the existing piers and will be inset no greater than approximately 3 inches to differentiate the new curtain walls from the existing piers. The foundation along the sides, north and south elevations will be infilled are visible from public right-of-way along South Fifth Avenue. Staff notes that the applicant provided photographs showing nearby properties with similar infilled brick foundations. In addition, staff has recommended the removal of window-mounted air conditioning units. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. All window glazing shall be clear with no tint. All new cladding material shall be wood matching the existing house siding. The new brick curtain wall underpinning shall be inset, but no greater than approximately 3 inches from the existing piers to allow for easy identification of the original piers. No mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of the proposed project. All construction shall comply with code, and any changes shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
I do. The current piers look like it's low-fired brick and limestone mortar. And I see somebody already pointed up some with some cement that looks like caused some damage. Are the applicants aware that they shouldn't do that? And I assume you're going to have a modern brick with Portland cement on the infill?
The house came this way, is my understanding.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yes, they would be using a modern brick for the infill.
Something close to the.
Yeah, and they recognize there's pier issues as well.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't know, maybe this is better for the applicant, but is there another window in the bathroom, or?
I'm not sure of the window configuration. It's the small windows getting removed and filled and then moved over to the big window. Yep, so where the red arrow is.
Yeah. I'm just curious if there's, like maybe you would want to make sure there's an exhaust fan or something if you're going to get rid of the window, but I mean, I don't.
So I'm sorry.
That would be for the applicant.
Yeah.
As far as you know, are you saying that the bathroom windows on the left and the kitchen windows on the right in this photograph?
The bathroom window would be on the left, and the kitchen window would be on the right, from my understanding. I'll let the applicant better, because there's also a vent above the window, the bathroom window as well. There is an existing vent above it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for Ben? No. Thank you. Is the applicant in attendance? Can you please come forward and state your name and address? Assume you're maybe 107 South Fifth.
Yes, Brian Saunders, 107 South Fifth, Wilmington. I'm the general contractor working on the house.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, the owner and the general
No,
contractor?
no, I'm not the owner, I'm just the GC,
Okay.
so.
Just out of curiosity, there's 4 mailboxes. This is going to stay with 4
Yes,
units?
it's
So
gonna
there's 4
stay a-
kitchens and 4 baths and
Yes.
4 of everything?
Yes.
Okay, that's,
So can you help us with the geography here? Is that the bathroom window on the left and that's the kitchen window on the right?
Correct.
And you're going to take that exact window, those sashes, that frame, and install it in the kitchen?
Yes. Yes, that'll allow us to just make a more reasonable kitchen layout, and so we can get some, because the bigger kitchen window on the right, you can't, it's lower than the back of a cabinet would be, so we can't get any kitchen cabinets on that wall.
Is that the extent of the work on this?
That's it.
So you're not doing any other renovation? There probably is not a need for a building permit, or?
Oh, we're doing work on the inside, yes.
Okay. So there will be a building permit?
There is.
So one thing, and I brought this up last month because it was a sort of a similar item in our meeting last month, but that window on the left, we probably know that it's wind and water resistant because it's been there for many, many, many years through dozens of hurricanes, and it's effectively good enough. But if that's going to be permitted, you may want to have a structural engineer kind of write a letter or talk to a code enforcement official to make sure that they're not going to disallow that window being reused because it doesn't have a design pressure rating on it. So I think what we could do also is a commission, what we could do is make a condition that in the event that someone doesn't allow you to do that, because it's an uphill battle, that we would allow you to get a new wood window that matches this in every way.
Oh, okay.
And
I think it's
and
an
install
original
that.
window.
Right. And it's done fine.
So.
Yeah.
We just don't want you to get through it and then they say no.
Oh, okay.
When they come for the inspection, yeah. Any other questions for the applicant?
And there will be a bathroom vent fan in the bathroom.
okay.
Yeah.
Is there siding work being done in this house? Because it looked pretty bad, what I saw.
Only just repair and replace is needed.
The pieces that, okay,
Yeah.
it is, okay. Quite a few bad pieces. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
it needs a little TLC, the siding, so.
It does.
I'm curious, for the sake of history, for someone decades in the future or 100 years in the future, if they had this house and they wanted to do something again to make it obvious that there was a window there. I've seen cases where you keep the casework and you infill within the casework with siding. That's something that commissioners and we can discuss, but I'm curious if that gives you any heartache or you'd be amenable to that, to
No.
keeping that there. That way in the future, because myself doing this kind of work, we've been in projects where we're like, oh, goodness, that's made our lives a lot easier with the historic preservation plan or whatever to see that, and we know that it was there and we can bring it back easily, relatively easily.
Okay.
Just
No-
curious.
No heartburn.
Okay, no heartburn.
Right.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you.
No, we're good.
Okay, thanks.
Does anyone in attendance like to speak in favor? Well, okay, sir, if you'd please come forward, state your name and address.
Hi, Greg Thompson. I'm at 109 South Fifth Avenue, directly next door to the subject property. I've been before you before, and I do want to say thank you for your service to our community. If you didn't do what you do, we would not want to live downtown. So we really appreciate everything you do. I'm coming in support of this project. I do have questions, though. We have so I provided some additional pictures that I would love to enter into the record that just support my questions about what's going on here. Are you able to bring those up, Ben? Okay. So just for context, we built our house next door to this property 10 years ago, brand new, ground up. You approved it. It turned out great. And for 10 years, we watched the subject property deteriorate in egregious ways. That the previous owner was just horribly negligent, to be quite frank. And so we could not be happier that this new owner is investing in the property and is trying to bring it back to its former glory, in his words. And we are really supportive. Additionally, we're supportive because probably of all the people on the planet, we have to look at this south-facing part of this house because 14 windows on our north-facing side face this house, and all 3 of our porches face this house. We see it every day. In addition, we drive up and down the driveway. So the driveway you see here, and Ben, if you could, or Amy, if you could scroll down a little bit. So our driveway supports 2 houses. So there are 4 cars that have off-street parking in the rear of our property. It's 111 South 5th and our house at 109 all use this driveway. So up and down 4 cars, we are 9 feet away from the subject property. So the edge of my house and the edge of that house is 9 feet away. I say that to you because all of the work that's going to be required to be done on both the windows and the brick curtains is going to have to be done in our driveway, if that makes sense. So they will have, and I'm fully supportive of that. We can coordinate with the owner and with Brian, the general contractor. They've been wonderful neighbors to let us know when they're doing HVAC work and all kinds of things. And so I'm not concerned about that. But I do tell you, I have a huge vested interest in making sure this is done really, really well, because even the owners of the property are not going to look at this as much as we're going to look at it, because we face it all day long, every day. If you could scroll down a little bit, Amy. So what I provided are some more detailed pictures of the piers. Each of the piers, there are 8 or 9, depending on how you count them, have bricks that have deteriorated, have cracked, faded. They have mortar that's missing. There are bricks that have been replaced over time, particularly at the top of the piers, it would appear. And so I'm no structural engineer, but I am concerned about the structural integrity of the piers. I'm also concerned about the congruity of the brick curtain, because I'm not sure what they would be matching. There are so many different types of bricks on these piers, and Amy, if you could continue to scroll down, you can see more examples of different types of bricks, mortar that's missing, bricks that are cracked. I know I sound like I'm not in support of this. I really, really am. I just want to be sure it gets done right. Because these piers look so severely compromised or so incongruous among themselves, I'm not sure what we're actually proposing in terms of congruity. And to be perfectly honest, every time I go to the back of my property and look down the driveway, it looks like this subject house is leaning toward my house. Now, again, I'm no expert, but my eyeballs and people I take down there say, is that house leaning next to your house? Okay. But anyway, so I'm really concerned about the structural integrity of what we do to the foundation of this house that's 9 feet away from mine. And so that's why I just share these additional pictures with you in the spirit of what you want, which is what we want, what we all want, what the owner wants, is to get this done right. I mean, the owner said multiple times he wants to do this right. He wants to make sure that it's beautiful when it's finished. I mean, there are lots of siding issues. There's gutter issues. There's all kinds of things. But this is a foundational, first, really important step to get this right. So I'm speaking in favor, and I just want to make sure that we're all clear on what actually gets done, because I'm not 100% clear on exactly what this is going to be matching, if that makes sense.
Understood. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So I don't know if there was anything in the application about the brick, the actual brick selection. I don't know if you know the brick from wherever, Adams or General Shale or whatever, what that actual brick is going to be. To your point about the face of the brick breaking off, that's unfortunately they at some point they tried to do the right thing, and they used a mortar, probably a Type S mortar that was just way too hard. The brick is soft, and when they move and expand and contract at different rates at different times of the year, what happens is the face of the brick just breaks off. And once that face, the fired face of the brick breaks off, then it never gets better than that. So the applicant, the general contractor, would just need to make sure. So the National Park Service, sorry, I can't remember the name of the department within the National Park Service.
Secretary
Department
of Interior Standards.
Well, they have bulletins. I'm sorry, who said that? There are bulletins, there are bulletins there about repointing. So you would use at most a Type N mortar, not a Type S off the shelf at Lowe's or Home Depot. So you'd use a soft enough mortar that's not too soft that it won't deteriorate in weather. So, but to the point about the style of brick, if you could speak to that. Which of those brick are you going to select? Because there's so many different ones right there.
I would try to get the ones that are closest to the original piers, not the pier. The pier in that picture would be the one on the right, not the pier on the left. That's a newer brick. There you go. Match those.
So something like that. So is
Yeah,
that?
those are the original.
I wonder if the commission, when we get to deliberation, or if anyone has a thought about just letting that be an item that they could take, because you don't have anything in the application, right, about what the brick is that you're going to buy, deliver to the site, and install. So if
No.
maybe we could have them work with staff and do that at a bypass level, what the actual brick would be, so we'll discuss that. But I'm sure you'd be fine with that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor or against this item? Seeing none, we will move on to commissioner deliberation. So I brought up the thing about infilling where the window was with siding. I'm not going to die on that hill. It's just at a minimum, I'm sure the framing is going to be there, and in the future, someone could see that the framing was there, for a window, and they could go about it that way. But it's nice to see when something is obvious and kind of shows what was there. At least it's a feature that is historic still. But that's just my take personally.
I'm on board with that. I think like the storytelling of the houses downtown is like one of my favorite things to like walk around and look at. So I think that's a cool idea.
Those things tell the story, right? Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts?
I want to thank the neighbors, because this is something we wouldn't have known. Having neighbors get involved is so important, and especially in our historic district. So we just want to thank you for that. The photos, I think, are going to help us, have a better end building that's going to stand the test of time.
Mm-hmm. So. Anyone have any thoughts about the idea of the applicant taking to staff what the brick will be, so that decision can be made at that level, bypass level, rather than coming back in front of this commission?
I'm all for it.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would someone like to make a motion then? Does anyone else have a thought about that infill within the trim, by the way? Anyone object to that?
This is 1905. I looked up the date. Do we know, is this a balloon construction house? It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there like king studs on the windows, or what's framing those windows?
They put 4x4s.
4x4s. Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. So
Yes,
you're not intending to rip them out to put
No.
windows in and put
No.
siding. You're just so you'd probably just throw a 2x on the vertical in the between or something and do that thing. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, the windows are the original frames will stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's I'm good.
Okay.
with
Thank you.
that. Okay.
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Where am I here? Is this, yeah. I move to approve with conditions a request for window alterations and foundation infill for the property located at 107 South 5th Avenue. This request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, based on the evidence provided, including the application, all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff reports, conditions 1 through 6.
And conditions about the...
And also that the current piers are going to be evaluated and pointed up with the correct material.
And that they'll
Window.
take that to staff for the actual selection of the brick for
Oh, I'm sorry.
what's being infilled too.
Yes, and staff will give a bypass for the design or the color of the brick.
And are you going to make it a condition about the infilling with keeping the trim there and putting siding in, or are you going to leave that out not do that as a condition, Stephen?
Why do we need, I'm sorry, why do we need a condition?
That was another condition.
For
I
what?
thought that was just a suggestion.
Okay.
Unless you want to make it.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Because he's not going to tear the wall out, so.
No, right.
Okay, just.
But he could take if he takes the trim out, it's going to be a much harder siding job. Then you're going to have to take out all the adjacent siding and make it all kind of work. It's easier to leave the trim there and infill it with siding.
Oh, I see what you're saying on the exterior.
Yeah.
That would, wait a minute, let's stop. what do you intend there? Are you going to leave the trim, or are you just going to put the siding so it's?
We'll do whatever you decide.
I mean, honestly, I don't like the idea of leaving the trim. I would think it looked better on the house if it was just siding and not like, oh yeah, there used to be a window there.
Okay.
Wouldn't that look a little?
What do you think, Stephen?
The trim is just trim. I
Yeah,
mean,
trim is trim, but it tells the story.
I was thinking mainly the actual casing of the window.
Well, it preserves more of the historic siding, and it does tell a story.
It does allow the rest of the siding to remain, if it's in good condition.
Right.
So a condition to leave the trim and just infill that.
Yes.
All right, well then, that's another condition then. Okay, if that's what the commission wants. That's
Is that
fine.
stated clearly enough?
No.
You lost
What
me.
were those two conditions, Stephen?
Holy
There
moly.
was the brick, and then there was the siding.
Yes, the brick, the other condition on the brick is for the current piers to use what year the
A
contract
type
is?
N or
Type
a
N,
softer
yeah.
mortar. yeah.
Softer mortar to point those up.
Not type S.
Okay, and also now infilling the windows, but leaving the trim
Right.
is what we're
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah,
Everybody good with that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, and then, all right. So that I guess would be conditions 7 and 8.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously.
Okay.
Thank you. Item number 7, we have 2 more items. Ashley, you're going to be able to see Little John tonight. You're going to get up front.
No. Is that who it is?
Yeah.
You're on number 6.
I'm sorry, number
gonna
6.
be up
Well,
front.
yeah,
I'm not
for,
gonna be
for
up front.
as far as what we're hearing, 6. Polvogt Alley.
1447.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Number 6, yes, 214 North 7th.
Hearing number 6 is for the proposed construction of a new 2-story covered porch on the rear of the house at 214 North 7th Street. As described in the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion Report dated 2003, the Everett House, constructed circa 1875, is a 2-story side passage Italianate house with an L-shaped hipped roof and brackets. The wrap-around porch features paneled columns and turned balustrade handrails. The windows are 2/2 sash units, while a transom window is located over the double-door main entrance. The subject house is a contributing resource to the Historic District Residential, and revisions to all facades of the building and site are subject to design review in this district. The house at 214 North 7th Street is located on the east side of North 7th Street, the 4th house south of its intersection with McRae Street. The house retains a good level of integrity, as can be seen in the circa 1950 and 1990 photographs from the city archives. The applicant proposes to construct a new covered 2-story porch on the rear of the house, as seen in this photo. As seen in this photo, a small wood landing with wood steps serves as a current rear porch. The proposed porch will be approximately 25 feet by 8 feet in size and will be designed to resemble the existing front porch, except 2 stories in height. The new porch will rest on a solid cinder block foundation, with 2-foot wide concrete strip foundation footings. A brick veneer will be installed along the exterior of the new porch's foundation, matching the existing house. The foundation plan and first floor framing plan can be seen on this slide. The roof of the proposed porch will be a shed roof with a minimum slope per code. The new porch roof will come off the main roof to allow drainage into the gutter system of half-round copper gutters that will span the backside of the double porch at the roof line. Flashing is preferred to be stainless steel, but copper could be used if required. The roof will be a fiber-type material, which, according to the manufacturer, Siemens Corporation, is a high-performance coated fiber membrane comprised of a four-layer construction technique to protect against the elements, and it comes with a 50-year warranty. The second floor framing plan and roof framing plan can be seen on this slide. The trim style, columns, balusters, and color of the new porch will be very similar to the existing front porch. The proposed decking and hand railing will be red Belaloo or similar durable wood like IPE. The proposed new porch will be accessed from brick steps similar to the front porch with no landing on the south side of the new porch. Each level of the porch will be wired for contemporary lighting. Staff note that portions of the proposed new two-story porch will be visible from public right-of-way along North 7th Street, but will not represent a substantial visual intrusion. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. No mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of this project. No other alterations to the house or property shall be made as a result of this project. All construction shall comply with code, and any changes shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter this presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
You mentioned stainless, so that's the gutters and the downspout stainless
that would,
instead of copper?
Let's see, make sure.
I just bring it up because we've had neighbors, copper seems to walk, you know, it's just.
Wow. They would prefer stainless steel, but copper would be acceptable. Let me, where was that at?
Okay.
It walks.
Yeah, it walks.
It gets stolen.
It's stolen.
Stolen. Yeah, copper's so expensive right now. They might be better off with the stainless steel
Yeah.
for that one reason.
What do you mean, a gutter?
Everything. They've taken downspouts right off of houses.
Oh, they'll cut electricity, mega wires out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, the copper will, yeah, they'll go for copper if they can get to it.
These spindles, they're going to match the front?
Yes, they're going to be similar to the front.
You say similar, so there's already factory-made balustrades that are this, they're not going to be specially made.
We can ask the applicant
I
about
would
that.
double check with the applicant because I'm not 100% sure how they're going to manufacture their
Oh,
balusters.
okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yep. Is the applicant in attendance? If you'd come forward and state your name and address.
Cade Holiday, 418 Upland Drive. I think I put the address of the property on the form.
Oh, okay, that's fine. All right. Anything to add?
The balusters are going to be, we're going to find somebody to make them. So he wants to get them as close to original as possible. Obviously, they're going to have to be, I think on the front, they're lower than code because they're existing,
Yeah,
or it's,
right.
you know, it's below 30 inches or whatever. But obviously on the back, they'll be the
They're gonna
code.
be the
So
code.
they'll be bigger.
So they'll be a little taller.
Correct.
A little more base or top. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And I didn't understand whether, was it stainless or copper flashing we're talking about?
He was talking about gutters. I don't know if he's confused on that, but that's what you read, right? You read it was going to be copper gutters, or he
You are
likes
gonna
to
have-
keep it like original. So I mean, I assume he was thinking copper, but you know, copper. When you said walks, I was like, I didn't know what that meant either. I was like, does it bleed? Does it? You know, I hadn't heard that one yet. I'm going to have
No,
to use
they
that
walk.
one
I mean, no,
tomorrow. You know,
it's an issue.
so.
So we're talking about, we're not talking about, the flashing is, that's not what we're discussing. It's going to be, you are going to have copper gutters.
Correct.
All right, okay.
Well,
Any other questions for the applicant? I don't think you have anything else to add, right?
Not unless you got any questions.
But I guess if you decide to do stainless gutters, that's fine too.
Okay.
Or aluminum.
Or aluminum. Yeah.
But it is going to be a half round, you're saying? No matter what, it's going to be half round?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it originally had, the inset gutters where it kind of went down the wall, the inside.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that house must have internal gutters.
Yeah.
so he wanted to do that, but I think some of us tried to talk him out of it. So
Okay.
wow, that would be a project.
Okay. Anything else? All right, thank you.
thank you.
Does anyone like to speak in favor of this item or against? Anyone? No? Commissioners, thoughts or motion?
I've got no problem with this.
Okay, no issues? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
All right.
I move to approve with conditions the request to construct a new two-story rear porch for the property located at 2014 North 7th Street. This request is consistent with the Wilmington design standards for historic districts and landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Good luck with that. Now, agenda item number 7, 211 Polvogt Alley.
Good evening. This hearing, number 7, is for a proposal to install an interior wood door as an exterior, to install interior wood doors as exterior gate entrances within a privacy fence at 211 Polvogt Alley. The property is located at the southwest end of Polvogt Alley, near where McRae Street and Polvogt Alley diverge. The property is located within the Historic District Residential. The structure is classified as a non-contributing resource within this district. In the Historic District Residential districts, all facades and site elements are subject to design review. Here we have the Sanborn insurance maps. On the left, we have the alley 1915 Sanborn map. The alley was created and a small dwellings constructed. On the right is the 1951 Sanborn map. The earlier structure was later demolished after 1955, and the current house was built in 2007. This property is a one-story bungalow constructed in 2007. Key characteristics include a front gabled asphalt shingle roof, partial width hipped roof over the entry, horizontal lap siding, symmetrical double-hung windows, and a front porch with a simple squared post, wood railings, and lattice skirting. Staff notes that the site is adjacent to a grass parking area associated with the nearby church, and the proposed project is visible from portions of Chestnut Street, McRae Alley, and Polvogt Alley. The property has recently been issued a certificate of appropriateness for a 6-foot privacy fence through the administrative bypass, and the fence will end at the white flag shown in the photo. The proposal for the council relates to the gate replacements within that fence. The applicant proposes replacing the existing gates with reclaimed interior wood doors. Each gate will be a 6-panel wood door design. The south gate will be 36 inches wide, and the north gate will be 32 inches wide. The total height will be 84 inches, consisting of an 80-inch door and a 4-inch header. If the commission elects to issue a certificate of appropriateness, staff recommends the following. All gates shall not overswing into public right-of-way or neighboring properties. All construction shall comply with the regulations and requirements imposed by Land Development and Building Code and other applicable laws. All permits shall be obtained. Changes to the project from that described in the application submittals shall be reviewed by the Historic Preservation Commission or administrative bypass process. Staff would like to enter in tonight's proceedings and reports into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
So the fence is going in. We're just looking at these 2 doors on either side of the house, right?
Correct. Here we have is the survey, property survey, and you can see the gates will be highlighted in red.
Okay. All right. And these are interior wood doors?
Correct.
Okay. I just don't know how long they're going to last. That's a whole one. Okay.
They're going to be orange and blue?
The color, the applicant hasn't specified color, but as far as we know, this is the color that they have presented to us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, one more thing. Yeah, I might have missed it.
Oh, sorry, Ally.
Does the design include this kind of roof as well? Like in the neighbor's frame, how there's that little blue roof?
They do propose a 4-inch header of that caliber.
So just a header. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not the roof.
Just a...
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Is the applicant in attendance? They could come forward and answer any questions, please. If you'd state your name and address, please.
Yep. My name is Philip Hickson. I'm the contractor at 210 Dairy Farm Road in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So the one on the left, the blue door, is actually an example of a neighbor's fence that was down the road.
Okay.
The one on the right is an example of the door, and they are exterior doors. They're not interior.
Is this
okay.
a question of functionality or style?
The height. So,
Height, okay.
yes, so the doors are 80 inches. Both doors on each side are both 80 inches in height. The rest of the fence is going to be 6 feet, highlighted in the blue line on the survey. And then, so
12 inches taller overall with the door and the.
correct. In that header, we do not have to add the header. That was just the original proposal, to add a header to make it look a little bit, because we're doing a trim design at the top as the existing fence.
So is it for privacy? Is it why a door?
I'm guessing to just, instead of just the regular gate style, they just wanted to do the exterior barn door, the old, to keep it like the feel with the historic district.
So more style than function, but the height is for function.
Correct, yes. Yeah, because we don't want to have a 6-foot high fence and then a 80-foot.
Gotcha.
Or
Okay.
80-inch door
Sure.
sticking above. So we were just proposing to move the fence higher
Okay.
to meet the top. And like I said, we don't need to necessarily have the header onto that. We can
Okay.
keep it at 80 inches.
But I'm sorry, is the fence is going to remain, like the fencing, the pickets are going to remain at 72 inches, right? You're not raising the whole, right, and adjacent, you're not raising those pickets to 80 or 84, correct? That's not your.
No, we are. So we would raise them to the height of the door.
Like in the. Can we see the picture of the other, I'm confused. Maybe others are too.
So,
like that.
so those are 6-foot high pickets.
Right.
With a 80-inch door. So what we would do is we would would use 8-inch pickets, cut them down to the top of the door.
Are the posts 4x4s or 6x6s?
6x6 will be used for the gate post.
So
and then
they're really strong. And then
Is it staff's understanding that these would be 2 separate heights?
It was staff's understanding that they were approved for a 6-foot fence through the administrative bypass earlier in March. And then the gates exceeded the height of the traditional standard of rear fences, which is 6 feet. The door itself sits at 6.6. With an addition of a header, it stands at 7 feet, which exceeds standard. In addition, the interior door as a gate is not a traditional design in the Historic District residential, nor have we seen it as a precedent of being approved in the Historic District. So this will be a design and a height
Thank
review.
you, Alden.
Yeah,
Thanks.
of course.
I was under understanding that the sides were to be 4 feet.
6 feet.
6 feet?
The fence is 6 feet. So how, just that photograph on the left with this blue door, aside from the fact you're not going to have a roof, let's just assume that fence right there is 6 feet.
It is, yes. It's
How are your fence pickets going to look different than what this image looks like here?
So the fence pickets, we're going to cover up the top with trim. So a 1 inch by 4 inch board.
Right.
Pressure treated pine, and it'll be on top.
Got it.
Hiding that picket, so there'll be
Okay.
a flush top as well.
So the fence area that is next to the door is not going to be 6 feet, it's going to be 8 feet, or
It's
whatever.
going to be the height of the door.
Right, so it's
which
not
is
6
80
feet.
Yeah, 80 inches, yes, which is over the 6 foot.
Can you just leave it to where the pickets are at 6 feet? Why do the pickets have to get taller next to the door? Why can't you just do it like, why wouldn't that be an option to do it like what's in this image right here and have a 1x4 across the top of that, where that door, above the door?
I just don't think it's aesthetically
Oh.
pleasing to have it lower like that and to bring it up to the level of the door.
Okay. And if-
Because like a traditional gate that we build for 6 foot, you wouldn't build a 4-foot gate for a 6-foot tall fence.
Sometimes you would, especially if you
Sometimes.
have like a trellis.
Or a
over it.
trellis, yeah. If you're doing a trellis,
Yeah.
or an arch or anything.
yeah.
But you wouldn't necessarily build one lower. It just doesn't look, I don't think it looks.
So it's only on the
front section.
Front, not the sides. Everything else is going to remain 6 feet in
Correct.
your
And the same-
application.
Yep, the same style too, that's.
Okay. All right.
I have a question for Ben. The blue door, this picture, is that in the HD?
Yes, it is.
It is.
I do believe so. I
Was
could
there a
not.
COA on
I could
that?
not find one.
The what?
I could not find one. I could not locate one.
Never, okay, so someone just, at some point, had done that. So there's no
I'm not sure,
prerequisite,
or-
there's no history that this has been approved before.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Or, I'm sorry? For me? Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Does anyone like to speak in favor of this item? Will you please state your name and address, sir?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Tim Schomburg. I live at 211 Polvogt.
In favor or opposed?
We're in favor.
Okay.
We could lower the door a little bit on both of them, maybe reduce it 4 inches, if that would be something that would be
okay.
Help our cause a little bit. There are room for some of us to take a little bit off the bottom.
Maybe off the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah, not too much. The more you take off that bottom rail, the weaker it gets. Because there are
Exactly.
joints there that don't want to be reduced. That's when it starts falling apart. Any questions for, you're kind of the applicant. Any questions for this individual? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Anyone else in favor or against? Okay. Please come forward and state your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Richards, and I live at the adjacent property located, or I'm sorry, I own the adjacent property at 213 Polvogt Alley, immediately to the side of the long side of the fence, as was shown in the survey. I do have some questions about if the applicant is trying to go to 6 feet or above. I'm confused after the first person spoke about if they're trying to go to 6 feet or above 6 feet at the fence and above the door, or just at the door. And then I also have questions about what constitutes a side yard and a rear yard and a front yard, because my understanding, I think somebody mentioned it, that a fence was supposed to be just to 4 feet if it was in the side yard, in the position of the fence that is being proposed. And then my last concern is that there was some information that was misrepresented in the original application, as I saw it listed online and earlier in the slides, and that was that this fence is going to be replacing the existing fence in the same location, and it's not, which is not necessarily a problem, but if we're talking about maybe making some exceptions on the height, I think it's important to note that the existing fence doesn't exist where the new fence is being proposed. Sorry if that wasn't clear.
No.
So there is already a fence there on the property, and they're putting it inside the other fence?
Thank you. There is a fence there, and if you look at the survey on the left, without the blue and the red, you can see where that fence is located. The fence is currently at approximately 6 feet. I don't know exactly what the height is until the back right corner of the property where you see the 7.3 measurement off the corner. And then at that point, the fence drops to approximately 4 feet from there until it kills into the side stoop of the property.
So there will be 2 fences, one in the blue and one along that 7.3 line?
That would be a question for the applicant. My assumption is that they would be taking down the existing fence and replacing that with this fence. But what was noted in the application was that these doors were being added to an existing fence. So that's where some of my confusion enters.
I understand, yeah. So I think to answer your question, the red, if I'm not mistaken, The red is the part that you're proposing, the applicant's proposing to make a little bit taller. Everything in blue is going to be 6 feet. So it's the red represents both the door, gate, and the increase in the height on the fence.
And are you going to keep this old fence or take it down?
No, that's,
Okay.
But when we talk about a side yard, isn't this the long side coming up too far front? Because you're supposed to have, it's supposed to be 6 feet up to a certain point from the...
That's for corner lots.
I'm sorry?
That's for corner lots. That's design guidelines for corner lots.
No,
I thought
no, it's for all lots, it's not just corner lots. Because when I did my house, you could only bring the 6 feet up to a certain point against the house.
I'm looking at page 58 of the design standards manual. Item number 8 says front yard fences must be lower than the maximum allowed for rear yard fences. New fences and walls should not exceed a height greater than 4 feet. Supporting posts may project up to 6 inches above that height. Rear yard fences and walls should not exceed 6 feet.
And this is clearly in the front yard.
Yeah, the
one on
long
the
side,
right.
the long side is.
Yeah.
Because there's a point, I think, where it can come up on the side up to your house at some point.
Right, and
But
it's
this
a
comes all the way to
backyard,
the
but
front.
not in the front
Not
of
the
the
long
house.
side.
I apologize, I misread that.
And that's the front yard, and
Yeah.
you've got a 6-foot fence in the front yard.
On the long side.
Yeah, and yeah.
It comes up to a point at the house where it's allowed 6 feet up to there, and then there forward, it has to be 4 feet.
We had about 5 or 6 years ago a case I think, up on 6th Street where a lady had put a 6-foot fence
Yeah.
right up to the front, and we made her reduce a section of that back.
It was
It was,
like right up,
Yeah.
within 4 feet of the,
Yeah.
all she had room for is the trash cans and then this 6-foot fence, and we had her
right.
reduce it.
And I think at that point, there was going to be some discussion to define that a little more clearly to what
And
point.
it is a city zoning situation as well.
I'll double check the language.
I
in
mean,
the morning.
they, on Riceville Avenue, next to one of my properties, the city made the people come in, they put in a 6-foot fence around the front, and the city made them come and cut it down to 4.
I ran this by zoning, so I'll redouble
Okay.
check with them. So
Yeah.
I thought I was,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that long side is comes too far forward for 6 feet.
it's definitely beyond the midpoint, but I was.
oh, is that where the
misreading
distinguishing
I'm not
distance is?
sure.
When it's midpoint? Because this stops at the front of the house.
Yeah, that's what's wrong with that
Okay,
side.
so it's midpoint. That's where it needs,
It
it would
doesn't
need.
it doesn't get to the front, quite to the front of the
Yeah.
house.
When I did my house, it was midpoint, that you could go 6 feet, and then further than that, towards the front has to be
They
the 4
wanted
feet.
to stop it behind those steps where the other one is.
I
on
think
the
we just
other
have to find
side.
out what the
Yeah, the
actual
design
definition
standard-
is.
Yeah, the design standards do not specify between, it just says front yard. It doesn't say anything about side yard, so it depends on what's counted as a front yard, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was the midpoint. I thought it was, I thought
I'm
it
not
was,
sure, that
if it's
might be
in,
that might be the older version of
Okay.
the design
Yeah,
standards.
yeah,
too.
but you have to decide, even though they just say front yard, then you have to sort of make an idea of where the front yard ends.
Well, that's,
And
yeah.
if we have them, running around in the front yard, that is going to make,
But it technically ends in the side yard because it's at the side of the house.
right.
well, but.
But it comes up to
It
the
can
fr-
end up in the front yard if it's right in front of
Oh.
the house and look horrible.
Lin-
And we will end up in a bad situation allowing that.
Linda, can you help us with this, please?
I'm going to try. So the Land Development Code section on fences says that within historic districts and overlays, when fences are subject to design review, fence height shall be established by the Historic Preservation Commission. So that puts the height of the fence in your purview.
I just think, as a precedent, we've always done 6 feet the back and then up to a certain point of the house as the rear, which was allowed 6 feet, and then there forward, and including
Which-
horizontally in the front, was 4 feet.
Agreed, and I thought that line, that was not the midpoint of like the depth of if the depth of the house was 40 feet, that it's not at 20, but it's at the front face of the house. That's where I thought it became front yard. in line with the front of the house. Has been my understanding of that. That they could technically do, in this image right here, that they could do 6 feet where that blue line is and ends at the red line because it's at the front of the house. I thought that was the side yard, and the front was anything in front of that and across the front of the property.
I will say that's my understanding as well. Yeah, that it can come up to the front of the house.
So it's rear up to the
Up
front.
to the front.
To the
house.
face of the house, but it sounds like different commissioners have different opinions on how we've interpreted that, but
There is a picture of the existing fence actually in the packet that is available online. It's located on page 7, if that's helpful, yeah.
Would be helpful at this point. Okay, is that it? Okay.
There's the concert started.
Yes, we can hear it.
All ready to go.
You said page 7.
I'm sorry, in what I'm looking at, this would be from the link that was available on the website with the meeting agenda.
So is that a photograph between the two houses? Is that what that photograph? Okay,
Mhm.
I'm looking at that too. I don't know if we can.
I don't know if this is,
I think Ben can try to pull it up for
that's
us.
what I'm looking at here on my iPad.
Yep.
Next one, keep going. That right there. So that frontmost gutter, that's where I thought that it transitioned from side yard to front yard, in line with that to the right.
Mm-hmm.
But still, from what
But
Linda,
it looks like now where it would be is behind those steps. Is that correct?
no,
It's
that's
not?
where it is now.
Well, that's where it
Yeah.
should be.
That's where it is now.
Yeah.
Would be up to like almost a corner.
What they're
of the house.
proposing.
Go up to 6 feet in front of it, that just,
Because it's
Well, they're
bypassing the
proposing
steps.
in line with the front wall of the house that's parallel
yeah,
to.
that's awful, yeah.
The COA has been revised, the fence COA was revised to include a 3-foot maintenance buffer between that and the nearest building. So the actual, in the present, there's the white flag in the photograph that was in the PowerPoint is where the end point of the fence is going to be.
Okay.
Okay, wait, before we spend all night on this, Ben, I mean, this is bypass anyway for the fence, right?
That's correct.
This is your domain. Okay, we're really just discussing these 2 doors.
That's correct.
Why don't we just take care of the doors and let Ben worry about
That's
the
a good
rest
point.
of this?
Okay.
Well, so, to that point, Stephen, we don't know where the,
Yeah, I think they're pretty intertwined. I don't feel confident making a decision about the door
Okay.
when we don't know what's happening with the fence.
yeah. So bypass level, is it the bypass application from March, Alden, do you know, is that what you did at the bypass level? So everything that's not the parts that are parallel to the alley, so the 3 sides, is that what your understanding of the bypass was that was approved?
I approved the bypass.
Or-
That
okay.
was my understanding was that it was
This-
going to be
this
6-foot
image on the
fence.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
6-foot fence up to a little bit further, it was past the midpoint, but not into the front yard the way I looked at it. I did not realize it approached to a neighboring structure as close as it did.
Okay.
So I revised the COA to include a 3-foot maintenance buffer.
Okay.
yeah, it's worth noting that part of my concern definitely is that the original proposition, and what I hope to get to in the next layer of questions, although it seems like we're already there, is that where the original proposal of this 56-foot side, where it makes the turn towards the subject property, is within inches of our front stoop on our property. And it makes maintaining that structure not possible.
So it has to be, it can't be closer than 3 feet to the adjacent property,
Correct.
is
The
that
applicant
right?
has revised that to move it back the white flag is where the fence is going to end at this point.
Okay.
That's where the 6x6 post that the applicant was speaking
Kinda
of will
center.
be installed.
Does that address that concern, that it's going to stop, it looks like 2 feet
Yeah,
in
but
front of
it's
that
still-
green trash can?
But it still can't be in the front yard. A 6-foot
Well, I'm
fence
just,
would be in the front
well,
yard.
we'll get there to that in a second. I'm just curious if that is reasonable. I mean, that's where the fence is going to be. That's it. The fence isn't going to get any closer to your house, the blue house, than that white flag.
Yes, that would address my primary
Okay.
concern. And I just
Okay.
don't know, like, knowing that there have already been, like, bypass meetings and things approved, I don't know how that process works to revise things that maybe have already been issued. So I understand that might not be for this meeting, but it's part of why I want to ask my questions
Okay.
when I have a chance.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Was there anything else though aside from that? So now we're at your primary concern is how far forward it comes. Is that right?
And the height. I mean, the bigger
height,
the
yeah.
bigger the structure is at that point, the more
Yeah.
invasive and obtuse it is as it relates to our property.
So-
but that's for you all to decide.
I'm just curious so the part that goes parallel to the alley, where we see the 8 and the 6, that's 8 feet and 6 feet. The 56-foot length, it being at 6 feet, is that okay with you, or not? I'm just curious where you stand on that.
My
as the neighbor.
our preference would be that it's not as tall up until 3 feet from where we access our property. But again, like I default to the commission and your understanding and interpretation of what is appropriate in a historic
But
commission.
I am curious, like how you feel about it. Like that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I think 6 feet and certainly more than 6 feet within that proximity feels a little bit obtuse.
I think so. It's way up, it's up to the
About the
front
corner,
of the
right?
house. And if
Yeah.
we start allowing it to be in the front yard,
Okay, so.
that's going to create a problem.
So, okay, let me throw this out here. So, if the front section was 4 feet instead of 6 feet, how far back would the 4 feet go? 8 feet back? Would
From
that
the
be
front
far-
corner of the house?
From the
The
front
front
corner
plane of
back?
the.
And then maybe place the gate at that point?
It would go past the steps, that stoop, and then start there.
What if it
6
so?
feet would be
so-
considered the backyard.
So maybe if it stopped at where the front of well, we're not. So, okay, in this photograph to the left, where that lattice is on the left, you're suggesting, Ashley,
Where it is
well,
right now,
in-
past that.
okay,
That would be the backyard. The rest of it would be considered.
arbitrarily, but that's your take, understood. Okay, I'm just trying, anyways, I think we're all set, and we'll ask if anyone else wants to speak in favor or against this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sir, would you want to maybe answer a question or clarify anything for us? So maybe one proposal, sir, is the fence doesn't come as far forward as what we're showing, but that it stops at about where that.
It did, when Ben came out the other day, he moved it back the 3 feet that was suggested to give them access to their
I see.
house.
Okay,
Our problem with, our issue with wanting it 6 feet is because this is an Airbnb now. This is for us to keep, but I've got one right next to me, I've got one across the street, and we just like to have our privacy also.
okay.
Okay.
Are you, so do you have an issue with it being back near where the step is? So if you,
I do, but apparently there's nothing I can do about that, so.
not necessarily, I just want to hear your opinion on it.
Yes,
Okay.
Because right now, they're coming on our property to get into theirs, to get into that stoop. That's our issues. We don't want people from the Airbnb walking on our property to get into theirs.
Oh, is there another picture we can see pulled back a little bit just to understand this better? Is there another one?
Did you get-
Yeah, maybe
did you get
that.
the pictures from of the
Okay.
stairs, where their stairs were?
So do you have stairs? Well, they go toward that trash
Yeah,
can
right-
there. Okay.
Right there.
Well,
I
if
see.
you have a lower fence, they're not going to go on your property. They're not going to
I-
climb your 4
Well,
feet
yes,
foot
because
fence
the
to get on your
stairs
property.
face back. They don't have stairs to come down to the front of their house. The stairs face to the
To
back.
the back, yeah.
And that's our problem is we don't want to have the liability of people coming on our yard to get into their house.
A 4-foot fence, they're not going to climb over the fence to come into your yard.
You know, you're not, it's not a good picture. That's not the way it works. With the steps walking down, they don't have any access. When they redid the house 2 years ago, we asked them to put the steps in the front They didn't want to do that. The steps continue to go to the back. So the only access from the front of the house, they have to walk on our property to get to that house.
That's a
They have
legal
ac-
argument. That's not within our
I
purview.
realize that's not a you argument, but that's what
It's a
we're,
legal
that's what
one.
we're facing.
And those are the only stairs to the porch, is those that face
They
the
have,
back?
they have steps in the back, and they go through the little,
The
those
front,
are the
they
only
are
ones
the
to the
only
front.
steps to the front. Okay, thank you.
Surprised that was approved when it was redone. Well, it's a legal issue. It's a forced easement.
Forced easement, okay.
It says how the world was get built in the first place.
Okay. So, anyone else to speak in favor or against? Okay, so we'll close that, and commissioners. Yeah, please come forward. We can do this.
I definitely think it's an appropriate situation to have an easement in place as a legal document to help clarify some of these things. A big concern is without that easement, and especially if the fence would be permitted to be built within the 3 feet of our porch, that in order to have access from our street frontage, our street address, we would have to make modifications to the historic porch. And to me, that seems like we're not prioritizing the proper thing.
I have a question. Was that porch always like that, or when you redid it?
It was always like that. It's been that way. I think you have pictures from at least from 1999, maybe before.
This is from 2003.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, I think that a lot of things need to be worked out before you bring it to us.
So this was before this house was constructed?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, and that's not I don't think that there's no, well, that doesn't appear to be, I don't see how that was original to that house. That appendage there on the outside of the.
Looks like it was added.
Seems like.
The stoop itself might not be, but my fear is that in order to get access to the front porch, we would have to move the stoop back so that stairs could then be reconfigured to aim to the front instead of to the rear of the property, and that is what would require modification to the porch, to the original porch. Not necessarily the stoop itself.
And this is outside of our, we're talking about these doors here, you know, but I am curious, when you come out of that front door, where you got that post there, could that not become stairs coming straight down to the front right there?
It would come into the alleyway. The house is right up on the alley.
Okay.
The house isn't even there in this picture.
No,
It's
the
a new
house,
house.
Yeah.
this is the neighbor's house that's there.
This is the neighbor's.
Yeah, the house is where the
Subject
caravan
property for the fence
is.
was built in 2007, and
Yeah.
to your point, I don't know how there wasn't an easement of necessity in place when that structure was built, but we can't do anything about that now,
Well,
I
you
guess.
can't build a structure, then say, I need an easement because I built the structure. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But that's, again, that's
Yeah.
beyond us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like there could be a landing off of the front of that house right there, what we're looking at. So that picture right there, right in front of the front door, you can come out 3 feet, and the stairs go down to, when you're coming out of the door, you walk down to the right, and that's your way out. I don't think you're within 3 feet of the alley there, but I'm not sure. Okay, so for commissioner deliberation, we should, again, we're looking solely at this. And Linda mentioned, like, this is up to us as far as where does that height change from 6 feet to 4 feet? You know, where do we? It's up to us. So, the one on the.
And whether or not these 8-foot doors are congruent, which they are not.
They're not.
7-foot doors. They're 6.
6 foot 8,
They're
or
6
80
foot-
inches.
They're
But they're not
6.6.
congruent with the
That's- yeah.
design standards.
Okay. Ashley says they are not congruous. I think they're kitschy. Like, I don't mind the doors. Like, I've seen this around. It doesn't, like, and they're impermanent. I don't think they'll last very long. It's you can get new gate in the future.
And then they do whole fences out of them and draw all over them.
Okay. I'm not, why so?
I mean, they
That's
do.
cool. I love you.
Generic they.
Yeah, the same people that steal the gutters and the copper.
They go walking.
I've seen
So,
this.
on the left side here, maybe we could break this down. Are we in commissioner deliberation? Did I?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the one on the left, so the doors period, I think Ashley does not approve of these doors. Anyone else?
I agree with Ashley.
Okay, so there are two, Ally, Beth, Stephen, what do you think about these doors? Doors as gates.
Yeah, I've seen this done on like brick walls and things like this in Savannah and Charleston.
Uh-huh.
But it's not a thing we've really done in this city very much.
No, to Alden's point, we haven't.
I think that
It's around, but we haven't.
It's not the intended use. You know, we look around the district, you see lots of gates. You don't typically see exterior doors. You know, Charleston, yes, we have, you know, we do see that sometimes, but we also see brick courtyards that are, you know, really, those are high. Those are, you know, 6, 7, 8 feet. I think my hesitation is that although the material is approved wood, the actual item is not. This is not something, we don't typically see doors on gates in the historic district. So, and I struggled to find anything in our book or online about it. That's where I'm landing. I would have a hard time approving it.
Okay.
I'm kind of tending no on the doors.
Okay.
And let Ben deal with gates and the whole fence.
Okay.
But I'm concerned about this coming all the way up to the front yard.
So am I. I
Okay.
agree with you,
Okay.
Ashley.
Well,
If they want to stop and put a 4-foot fence,
that far forward.
yeah, after the steps where it is now.
On the subject property steps,
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
And you could they could put a gate where the 6-foot
Right.
part ends, so you have privacy in the back, and then do the 4 up to
Yeah.
your front porch.
Right.
And I just want to say I'm not unsympathetic to your issue, and I absolutely understand the privacy, and it's a tough situation. We have to look at what the district allows, so that's where we're at.
Okay, so the doors were leaning, it sounds like it's almost unanimous for a no, at least that would be the vote, the coming vote. But now should we be looking at, and so the heights what you're suggesting, Ashley, is that it steps back, it's 4 feet, it starts at 4 feet from where the corner is. But you did this by bypass, so like, I'm not sure what we're even
I'm
right
going
now.
to check the legalities of it, and I'll work with the applicant.
Okay.
I think I'm in the right from what I did.
Ben, can
Yeah.
you also check what's been done, what's historically been done downtown?
I'll look into that as well, yeah.
Because it's never been, I mean, I know their guidelines are new, but before this, you were never allowed to come up front with a 6-foot fence on the sides.
I feel like I've seen some up into the side yards before.
Side yards might be a little different because
Well,
they're
they-
side.
well,
Where's the
not
side
right
yard
in the-
end?
But, you know, but not in the very front.
Yeah.
I mean,
This one got a little further to the front than I like, but I have a photo that shows it from behind that might be a little, I don't know if we can plug it in here.
A photo of something from this project?
Yeah, showing where it will
And Alden, were you going to say something?
I was. Earlier, when we were speaking about this, I spoke with our zoning officer and to talk about land development code, and they interpreted it as the The front would begin at the corner of the beginning of the house. So up to that corner of the property would be still considered rear at that point.
Yes.
But again, we're in the historic district, and
Mhm.
you guys can set
Thank you. That helps.
setbacks.
That does help. And right. Yeah, that, I think we understood that. So these people now have to, anyone trying to get to those stairs, you're coming into the
Wow.
other property. Yeah, I would put stairs out of the front of this and to the right, not straight out, not with 1, 2, 3, not 4 risers out, but one, 36 inches, then step down to the right. But again, that's not what we're here for. So I don't know what we're. A motion. Okay, yeah, maybe that's easiest.
Come back to us.
Or it can be continued.
I'll follow up about the fence part, but you guys are just worried about the gates at this point.
The doors, the gates.
I move to deny the request to install interior wood doors as exterior gate entrances within existing property fence for the property located at 211 Polvogt Alley. The request is inconsistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is denied. So not to say it can't come back in front of us in some other form, but I think there are some issues to work out legally and with zoning and code enforcement, perhaps.
Okay, where are we?
The last item, as 109 South 7th was withdrawn, 410 North 15th Street, Alden.
Hearing number 9 is for the proposal to replace an existing side patio with a deck at 410 North 15th Street. The property is located on the east side of North 15th Street, 3 parcels north of the intersection with Raycon Street. The subject building is a contributing resource to the Carolina Heights Winoka Terrace Historic District overlay. Only what is visible from the public right-of-way, excluding alleyways, is subject to design review. The following property description is from the Carolina Heights Historic District Register Survey Report. The Glasgow Hicks House, constructed circa 1928, is an English cottage style with beveled siding, a distinctive steeply pitched gable end roof, and the roof is raised and rounded over the front north side of the house, with recessed dormers. Recessed front porch with a side entrance, a vertical board door, 5-part windows with 8 lights, 8/8 sash windows with a movable shutters on the north side of the facade, and an interior chimney. The left photograph is for the project site looking south, showing the existing concrete patio that would be replaced. The right is a rendering of the proposed project looking south, showing the finished deck as envisioned by the applicant. The new deck will be constructed of a Trex composite decking material in the color malted barley. The deck will measure 18 feet by 24 feet and will be accessed from a set of 3 steps facing north. A grill is proposed as a part of the deck, proposed as a part of the deck, a permanently affixed countertops. White natural stone countertops on the west and east side of the deck, extending from the main structure at the end of the porch. A grill placed on the west elevation of the deck between the countertops, and the countertop supports will be a white painted wood. Staff notes on material. Trex is composite material made from roughly about 95% rough recycled materials, primarily reclaimed wood fibers and thermoplastic film. It is designed to be durable, low maintenance, and eco-friendly, resisting rot, splinters, stains, and fading, requiring no sanding, painting, or staining. Staff visibility notes. While set back from the street, the proposed deck will be partially visible from North 15th Street due to the property's slight incline and deep front yard. If the commission elects to issue a certificate of appropriateness, staff recommends the following conditions. No mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of this project. All construction shall comply with regulations or requirements by Land Code Development and Building Code. All permits shall be obtained. Changes to the project from that described in the application and submittals shall be reviewed by the Historic Preservation Commission and, if minor in nature, by the administrative staff. Staff would like to enter this presentation and report into tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Do you know if that fence is to remain, the white fence?
It is.
It is, okay.
Mhm.
And so the work is behind that fence?
Correct. It's almost right where you see that extension shed or cellar covering extend out. It'll be behind there.
Okay.
Which you can see right here.
Yep, okay. Any questions for Alden? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the applicant here? Would like to come forward, state your name and address, please?
Hi, I'm Greg Vassar. I'm at 410 North 15th Street.
Anything to add?
I think it's pretty, well, I
You
think
don't
it's
have
pretty,
to, just
yeah,
asking.
nothing to add. I think
Okay.
it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
It's pretty.
Yeah, in this house, oh my gosh, the
The house
eyebrow
is
dormer on the
so
front. the
charming.
Best eyebrow
This
dormer in the
is-
city.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
My great-great-grandfather was a contractor.
Because it's so.
Really?
What was that, Ashley?
Her great-great-grandfather built
My
this.
great-grandfather was the contractor.
Great-grandfather.
J.T. Ritter.
He built that?
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
All right.
If there's
J.T.
any
Ritter.
defects, you can sue her.
We're neighbors. We walk dogs regularly, so.
I want to say to you, though, I appreciate the drawing of the deck, and because as you could see, sometimes like with the aluminum awning at the church, it's very difficult to visualize things unless you've got something that's nicely representing what the project is. It helps a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments for, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in attendance who would like to speak in favor? Would either of you two like to speak in favor or against this? No? Okay. Seeing that there's no one here to speak in favor or against, we'll close that and go to commission's deliberation. Any thoughts or motions?
I move to approve with conditions request to replace an existing side patio with a deck for the property located at 410 North 15th Street. This request is consistent with Wilmington design standards for historic districts and landmark based on evidence provided, including all applications and attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and staff report conditions 1 through 3.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Great, congratulations. Good luck with that.
Sam will be very happy.
Any items from commission? Anything from staff?
I was going to let you guys know that the local landmark designation with City Council for the Marietta William House will be going up to City Council on April 21st.
Great.
Okay.
I would also like to let you guys know that tree inspection report for 125, 202, and 210 South 3rd Street has been received. 12 trees along South 3rd Street have reached the end of their lives and will be removed and replaced by the city.
Say what now?
Yeah, 12 trees along South 3rd Street, primarily.
12 trees, you said?
12 trees along South 3rd Street. From the Presbyterian church, you guys aren't going to like it. They've reached the end of their life. I have a tree inspection report if you guys would like to.
Can you email that to us?
I do believe so. Let me make sure I can. I'm pretty sure I can, but I wanted you guys to be aware.
And they're in front of roughly the
125
the
South
second
3rd.
block south of Market Street?
Correct. 125, 202, and 210. So the church is 125, and then the other side of the street on the 3rd block down. 12 total.
Can you
Block is
say
having
again
trouble.
the addresses?
Fires, Trees dying.
125 South 3rd,
South Third,
202 South 3rd,
202,
and 210 South 3rd.
Oh, the second
and then,
The trees will be replaced, so new trees will be going in their spots. The trees will be cut, the stumps will be ground, and new replacement trees will be planted.
Probably the same height as the other ones that have been planted all over town lately. It's like
I would
10
imagine,
10
yeah.
feet, 12 feet, something like
We
that.
won't see them in our lifetime, yeah.
Okay.
We're thinking fourth dimensionally here.
when is this happening?
Probably when they can get a crew.
I do not have a start date, so I'll look into that for you as well. I'll include that
you.
with the
Thanks, Ben.
with the additional information. Yep.
And you don't know anything else about the home? I'm sorry, the
Greystone.
Greystone that burned.
I don't. It's been a little while, but I met. They spoke with the state tax credit
Right.
person.
They were there a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I've not had much update since then.
Okay.
Well, let us know so we can go climb up in the tree.
I'll keep you posted if I hear anything.
Are
After
they
the
all
little John
Darlington
show.
oaks?
Okay. Is there?
Are they the Darlington oaks that are aging out, all 12 of them?
Most of them I think are laurel oaks.
Laurel oaks, oh,
Yeah.
they don't, yeah, that's what I like about live oaks, they last 400 years.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't. I think they're. I don't want to guarantee it, but I think most of them are laurel oaks, if not all.
Laurel oaks, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Is there
thanks.
a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. No, I'm not here in July. So what?